that there were no family members there, who were supporting her or devastated by that verdict. Nobody. But there is one family member who is joining me tonight, and it's Lori Vallow's cousin, Megan. She's in San Antonio, Texas, and you're kind enough to be on with me tonight. I know this is a really hard time for you and your entire family, Megan. Your reaction to that verdict, those 6 verdicts today?
I think mostly relief and gratitude that justice was served, that Tylee and JJ and Tammy have justice. Grateful to have this chapter closed and to have some closure and some hopefully healing for our family and for the victims and for everybody who this tragedy has touched. It's been a really emotional week and a very difficult time. And I'm just really grateful that we can say goodbye to some of this now.
Yeah. We've got a few more trials to go. I'll ask you about that in a moment, Megan. But relief and gratitude, in all the years I've done this business, it's so rare when a family member of someone who hears guilty on all counts of first-degree murder says relief and gratitude. This is a very strange, and complex series of relationships in your family. How is the rest of the family doing? Particularly Lori's mom and her sister, because they supported her at first and then that waned.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to say because, as has been sort of the MO of the family, we're not in touch with each other. I reached out to some family members after their testimony and after appearances and haven't heard anything back. And I don't know if that's because they disagree with some of the things that I'm saying or if it's just because it's too painful. But the difficult thing is that if we don't start to communicate as a family, then we haven't learned anything from this tragedy, because I really would say that one of the things that led to this is a lack of communication, a lack of understanding, a lack of being open and honest with each other about what's really happening, what's really going on, instead of trying to keep each other's secrets. And I just think it's really tragic if we don't move forward from this and have better contact with each other and more open communication. I can't speak for any of the other family members because I don't know.
Understand. It's for those who don't know about Lori Vallow's family, the Cox family, there's been a lot of tragedy in that family as well. I mean, they lost a baby, I think, within the first couple of years. They lost a daughter in her, I think, 20s or 30s. Alex Cox, of course, dead. Lori Vallow now headed off to prison, more than likely for the rest of her life, with no chance of parole. And so I guess the question I am so curious about is there anyone in that family that we know of that believes Lori is innocent?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that initially everybody wanted to believe that she wasn't capable of this kind of horrific act, but obviously met with the facts of the case and everything that's come out during the trial. I don't think there could be anybody who still remains that thinks that she's innocent. I think if anything, it's been a wake-up call for a lot of family members, and it's been nothing short of tragic for all of us to come to grips with what has gone on here.
Megan, do you think in some way that the catharsis of these 6 guilty verdicts will somehow allow your entire family to heal the rifts that obviously have been forged by her heinous behavior?
I really hope so. As I was saying before, I really hope that what comes out of this is a better understanding of, how toxic it can get when families keep secrets, and how important it is to have open communications and have really open discussions about the difficult things. It's always the temptation to keep family secrets because we think that we're sparing people pain, but in reality, all we're doing is causing more pain. We're just delaying the pain. That's all it is. So I really hope that what comes from this is that families who are secret keepers and families who are prone to not having open discussions will at least start to examine those behaviors and see where it can lead.
Yeah. She's got a couple more trials coming up, a murder trial for Charles Vallow. Chad has a murder trial, obviously the same as hers, same charges, same fact patterns. And then there's another one, Brandon Boudreau, Melanie's ex-husband, who was shot at, and it's an attempted murder. Do you think that you will follow those developments, or is this really the one where you realize it's over, everything else is just, additional, pile-on that is necessary, but it won't change the outcome of her freedom?
Well, this was a big one. I really wanted to understand all of the details that I wasn't aware of before, having lost touch with her, prior to her conversion to Chad's cult. I was really grateful to be able to understand all of the details and kind of put puzzle pieces together. But this, for me, really is not just a closing of a chapter, but really a closing of a book. And I think, although I will probably be aware of, the proceedings and the other cases, I'm definitely not going to listen to all the testimony. I'm definitely not going to dig into all of the media coverage. I really have to count this as closure, put it behind me, and try to move on from here.
Megan, you're brave and you're strong, and I really appreciate you sharing these thoughts, obviously at one of the hardest points in your family's life. Thank you for being on tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.